In the previous video, we created a list of dates using the M formula list.dates. Now do notice the capitalization, capital L and D, because list and dates are M functions. But we have a lowercase d for date and duration because they are preceded by the hash or pound sign. In this video, we're going to create a date table. So we're going to have a list of dates and then information about the date. Now, first of all, we need to convert this into a table. So we can do this by going to the List Tools Transform menu and clicking on to Table. Now, if you can't see the List Tools table, maybe you have got dark mode on, and in certain versions of Power BI, this List Tools menu does not appear. Regardless of the reason, you can also do this by right-clicking on the header, so not a cell but the header itself, and selecting to Table. So, however you do this, I'm going to select my delimiter as none, so that's going to create one column, and click OK. So now you can see it is converted into a table, and instead of having the name column 1, let's change this to date. So for a date table, what we want is to extract things from this. We want to extract the year, we want to extract the month, we want to extract the day, the name of the month, the name of the day, and so forth. And we can do that quite simply in the date part of transform, or what we're going to use, add column. So we've got a list of items here, some more useful than others. For example, age. So that tells you how many days into the past this particular date is from now. And you can see now is datetime.local now. Now, that is the current date and time in where I am right now, my local time zone, or technically on the system. There is another one called datetime.fixed local now, which will give you the same answer when you repeatedly call it. But most of the time you just call local now. Date.from converts the date time local now to a date. So what's the point of that? Because it drops the time. So if right now it was, let's say, the 31st of December at 5:28 p.m., then converting it to a date will make it just the 31st of December. We're then subtracting the column called date. So we're taking the local now and subtracting the column called date. So if you want it the other way around, then you could say each date minus date.from local now. It then gets converted into the type called duration. So duration is what is a type which has days, hours, minutes, seconds. So that's why we've got 780.00:00:00. It's a type duration. Again, you'll notice that duration has a lowercase d. Also notice all of this is included in a table.addColumns, which has the previous step. So take the table in the previous step, add a new column, and this is what you add with it. So we're seeing that quite a few times. So I'm going to, so that is how many days we currently are aged. And you can see the little duration there, except I've reversed it. You can convert date times to date only. So you can see it converts it into a type date for this new column. We can extract the year, so either the year itself using date.year and convert it into an integer, or we can have a date at the beginning of the year, the start of year, or a date at the end of the year, which would be date.end of year. So usually out of those, year is probably the most useful, and then secondly probably the start of the year, so you can see how many days you are from or using calculations. Now we've also got month, so we've got month that is the month number, or we've got the start of the month for the end of the month, the number of days in the month, so you can do calculations as to how many days you've got to go and that sort of thing, and we've also got the name of the month, so the name of the month in this case being January, and then going down to February. If you're not using an English locale, don't worry, we will be looking at other locales in the next video. So I'm just going to keep in here the month and the year. So month, year. Additionally, you can have quarter of a year, date.quarter of a year, date.start of quarter, date.end of quarter, fairly predictable results. We then have the week, so the week of the year, so starting at 1 and going all the way up potentially to 53. There we go. Or we have week of month, so that's a number between 1 and 5, also 1 and 6. and then the start of the week, and the end of the week. So of those, I'm just going to keep start of week. And I'll be keeping all of these because of the next video. I want to actually have a play with these formulas. Looking at the date of day, we have got the day itself. We've got the day of the week, day of the year, start of day, end of year day, and name of day. So again, all of those formulas are very predictable. Date dot day, day of week, day of year, start of day, end of day. So from those, again, I'm building up to the next video. I'm going to keep name of a day, but just to show you what the start of the day would look like. It just gives you the date and end of the day. If our data was date time, it would also give us the date time, 23:59 and 59.999 seconds. But it's not doing that because the date that I've got here, the date column, is actually not a date, it's text. So I'm going to change that to date time, and notice it says the 1st of January end of day, and you notice it looks like it says the 2nd of January right at the top. But when I click on it, you'll see at the bottom it's saying the 1st of January with a fraction of a second before midnight, which is being rounded up in the display. The next thing, subtract days, that requires you to highlight 2 day columns, or date time columns, so date or date time. So if I bring these two over, just so it's easier to look at, we now see subtract days is now allowed. So I click on that, and you can see the number of days between them. And the actual answer isn't 0 because there is no difference between the number of days from the 1st of January at midnight and the 1st of January at 23:59, 59.999 seconds. So if there was an additional minute added to that, then this subtraction would say 1. You notice the formula there is duration with a capital D dot days, and we'll be using this formula later when we start looking at times. We've also got combine date and time, so if we have a date and time column, we can combine them into one big time. And then we've got earliest and latest, which gives you essentially the min and the max. So that is a quick look through all of these date functions, all bar one, parse. And we're going to have a look at parse in the next video. I'm going to remove a few of these columns so that we can have a look at what happens if you have data that comes in date data, which is not in the language or the format that you expect.